Okie dokie. Let's see if we are live. 80% sure we are live. It says receiving content. Okay, there we are. Very good, very good.
白岩学園3年 B 組の皆さん、こんにちは。
Good freaking morning. All right, let's go to the main. How's it going, everybody? Total impromptu stream apropos of abso-freaking-lutely nothing. I've been thinking for a while that, alright, so crazy things are happening. Absolutely crazy things are happening. There was a live stream that I listened to from a couple days ago, and there are assertions, allegations, rumors, flights of fancy, vaguely based on reality, that apparently Sargon of Akkad is using phrases like peak Weimar. And indeed, I haven't checked what Karl of Akkad is doing recently, but I did notice that in my feed there was, or rather in my recommendations, there was a link. And, yeah, sorry, Angle Droid, I got a really bad cold the other day, and I'm only just starting to get past it now. It was pretty wicked too. Like 1 whole week of being plugged up and not doing a whole hell of a lot. Like I didn't even go out. Like I had a couple of things that I wanted to go and record, and yeah, it was really unpleasant. Anyway, yeah, sorry about the old voice box there. It sucks. Anyhow, so I noticed that there was a The Thinkery, which is one of Carl Lacodd's side channels, and it referred to Desmond is amazing in the negative. So there is something to this idea that perhaps Carl is noticing what's happening, and perhaps it touched displeased. Indeed, I was noticing the other day that Tim Pool, same thing. Listen to the few uploads. They're not live streams. He just, like me, he yammers into a mic. It's just that he can't interact with the chat, which, admittedly, I don't do as much as I should. Excuse me, my apologies. Indeed, it does seem as though Tim Pool, similarly, is also going through a bit of an issue, a bit of a thing. He's been a lefty and a Democrat for his whole life, and here the Democrats are calling for literally, actually open borders. Just fuck it. Anyone who wants to come in may come in. Not only can anyone just wander on in and collect welfare benefits, we're going to pay for their medical costs as well. So every Tom, Dick, and Jane, although of course in this case it's going to be Pedro, Juan, and Conchita, can just go directly up through the southern border, and they can just decide by change of address to sexually identify as an American citizen and reap all of the benefits. And of course, meanwhile, as we all know, the homeless population grows. Nancy Pelosi, infamously, Maxine Waters, I forget, like it's Barbara Bass or something, in my own local area, like anyone even cares anymore. These people don't represent us. The people that are ostensibly charged with representing the American populace not only don't care about the American populace, they have contempt for us. They have such utter contempt that they don't even bother protecting us by simply enforcing the rules that are on the books. They have declared themselves sanctuary cities. At any rate, the reason that I make mention of all of this is because it's gotten so bad that Carl Lacodd and Tim Pool are now starting to look at their own political party, their own stances, and say to themselves, what the hell is going on? And how can I support this how can I support these people anymore? It's getting pretty flippin' bad. And the title of this little stream, No One's Coming to Save Us, this is all about the idea that I've had this in my head for the past year or so. No one is coming to save us. We are utterly on our own. And, interestingly, Carl Lacodd and Tim Pool, they seem to be catching on. They seem to be catching on. This is actually fantastic news, in my own opinion, because as much as I disagree with them, and I do think that they are, the word cuck is a bit harsh sometimes, I suppose, and I don't mean it in the strict and harsh pejorative, but yeah, they can be a bit cucky. They really can. They're coming around, and if they're coming around, there's going to be others that come around. This is fantastic news. This is brilliant news. If no one is coming to save us, that means that we must charge ourselves and each other with our own protection. That is to say, I must protect you and you must protect me. Obviously, the self-appointed rulers, the elites, the bourgeoisie, whatever you want to call them, I don't actually care. They're not going to save us. We have no choice but to recognize this fact and to deal with them appropriately. Now, for me, of course, this only means only voting them out of office, indicating to the wider public that their policies are not to be observed as meaningful or valid or legitimate. But yeah, I woke up today a little bit displeased, and then I heard that stream where apparently Karl Avocat, he's making a couple of single steps in the direction of sanity. And so instead of waking up and feeling very displeased, I woke up and I said to myself, you know what? Freaking awesome. I'm actually really, really stoked about today right now. Only from the wider standpoint. Unfortunately, I'm about to go and get a little bit of footage from... it's really hard to find a local gun shop here in Los Angeles, so I gotta take a little bit of a hike, but I can get to one. I can get some footage. I don't know how good the footage will be. We'll see what that's like. But at any rate, today is the second to last day that you can pick up ammunition without having to go through background checks, and I don't think that there is a system in place yet. So for all I know, I don't know, but for all I know, there will actually be no more ammunition sold in California starting on Monday. I don't know. I have no idea. So sadly, I'm gonna go get a little bit of footage. I'm going to pick up a box of ammunition, and we'll see how that goes. Very, very upsetting news. Very upsetting news. And of course, also very, very upsetting is my my monitor is now on the fritz. So I gotta go and pick up a new monitor. Very upset about that. That's like $100 that I just didn't want to freaking spend. But what are you gonna do? Things happen. Anyhow, I'm going to play a quick track because why not? I miss playing music, so I'm gonna play some music. So here we go, guys. A nice little track from yesteryear.
Hiya, Toonsters. Welcome to the 90s. You know, one of the hazards of being a 90s trendsetter is that sooner or later, everyone is gonna copy your style. Chill, man. Chill, man. Chill, man. Pathetic, isn't it? Mindless clones following the crowd because they think it's hip and trendy. I don't do things just because everyone thinks it's cool. I'm an individual.
Alright, sorry about that. A little cough there. Still getting past that old cold. Very unpleasant, very unpleasant. Alright, so end of track. I believe that was AKTR. At any rate. So yeah, today is a day where we get to, here in California, think about where we're going to go for our last boxes of free ammunition. That is to say, ammunition sans background checks. Now, for anyone that may be here, this is going to be a shorter stream, by the way, because as it turns out, my monitor being on the fritz, I got to go and get a new one, which is unfortunate. I only have like exactly enough money to buy some ammunition or a monitor. I'm probably going to end up getting like just a sleeve of ammo and a monitor. Maybe I'll get a used monitor. A used monitor doesn't sound too bad. Oh, well, we'll figure it out. Anyhow. So, at any rate, yeah. Anyone that's here in California, definitely go and get yourself a sleeve of ammunition. And also, coming back to that whole thing of no one's coming to save us, let me just also say that, speaking for myself, I've been wanting to get outside and do more things. My cold, that was a silly thing on my part. Oh gosh, apparently Claire Kaw, she described herself as the leader of the alt-right. I tried excommunicating her yesterday, and that didn't seem to pan out. So it seems as though Heinrich is of the opinion that she is still indeed the leader of the alt-right. Let me go ahead and, Heinrich, check Telegram, and maybe you can explain this to me. I still think that she's not the leader of the alt-right, but yeah, I'm not sure. Speaking of no one's coming to save us, I mean, if there are people coming in and claiming to be the leader of the alt-right, I think we have no choice but to defend ourselves against those who would make such spurious and ridiculous claims. I don't have Claire Kaw's contact info, so that's a minor issue. I don't know how to deal with that just yet, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, yeah, so I kind of want to get out and like do more recordings and do things. If we're only going to be, if we're going to say things like we have to save ourselves, I think it's incumbent on us to actually like start getting out. Speaking for myself, you know, my sleep schedule is terrible. I think the reason that I got sick is because I was burning the candles. Burning the candle at both ends, so I gotta get more serious about my health, so that I don't just spontaneously get sick, and I gotta get myself into a better set of routines, so that I'm actually doing things rather than not doing things. That sounds retarded, but the idea is just that I'm gonna have to be responsible for myself, and we're gonna have to be responsible for ourselves and for each other. Yeah, fringe nationalism. It's true, being responsible is kind of fake, and it is kind of gay, but I can't help it. I can't help that this is the state of things right now. Yeah, I'm gonna make it a personal mission to actually like get a routine going, so that I'm actually like doing consistent output, you know, consistently putting out videos and or doing live streams or something, anything. In all honesty, I do kind of miss all of the late night streams. I've been talking about getting myself back into that rhythm for a long time, but that would be like an example. If we're going to be trying to do things, that would be like an example of something to do. It's tiny, it's not big, it's not terribly impressive, but it's something. And one of the nice things about the about doing things like video output or whatever is that it actually does serve as a rallying cry. It actually does serve as sort of a touchstone. It's something that gets people, pumped up. It gets the morale up. I think we do need to have morale boosts, and I think that we do need to have community. As we all know, for example, with Claire Caw, yeah, I mean, there are going to be people that wander in and they have ideas that maybe we find a bit disagreeable. But at the same time, as long as we are just getting out there, doing things, making things happen, forging relationships, and actually rolling through ideas and trying to make the best of things, that's a huge start. That's got to count for something. So, again, if no one's coming to save us, it's up to us, and we just have to get out there and start doing things. I threw out a couple of invites, and for some reason... Oh, here we are. I've got a link for Jonathan Pohl, just in case he wants to pop in. I threw out a link. Sadly, my computer is it's totally on the fritz, and it's not cool. So it's hard for me to throw links out right now. Oh, Daniel's here. Freaking Daniel. Hello, buddy. Let me see if I can find Daniel's info. It's from a while ago. I haven't spoken to Daniel in a hot minute, and I miss that guy. I miss you, Daniel. Where are we? No, that's not the case. Why can't I find Daniel's contact info? It's been so long. No, that's not the case. That's not the case. God, I can't believe I'm doing this in the middle of a freaking stream like an idiot. That's stupid, and I shouldn't be doing this. Impromptu streaming. What are you gonna do? No, my God, this information is so ancient. Holy shit. Daniel, if you can throw me a link, that would be great. Is that it? No, that's not it. Why can't I find the info? This is not cool. Not cool. I have to clean out my inbox, apparently, because I can't find the information anywhere because I'm retarded. Well, that's embarrassing. That's actually entirely embarrassing. Genuinely embarrassing. Where are we? No, we don't have that. Why can't I find the info? This is not cool. Anyway, Daniel, I'm gonna see if I can find your info somewhere, even though I can't find it, which is super duper lame. I was watching, by the way, a couple of things with regards to what's going on, or what happened during the French Revolution in the late 1800s, and holy shit, I'm actually a little bit concerned about that right now. I keep watching all of this fear porn, which is really stupid, and one of the reasons that I kind of want to stop going with black pill shit is because it's super duper lame, and I don't like it at all. Oh, there it is. Duh. Daniel gave me copy. I'm going to do a compose to you, check, and then to this, work, copy, and then boom, done. Error. Why is it not? Oh, because of spaces. That's right. What am I thinking? Check and check. Nicely done. At any rate, I've been watching some freaking fear porn like a retard, and the fear porn is with regards to France in the 1870s, and because I'm trying to look at historical examples of the way that Ash, check Telegram, by the by. I've been trying to check out examples of how how revolutions happen and what goes down during them and after them. And I think that I don't know, but I think that if we can just somehow like manage to get through like the worst of it without ceding positions of power to them, and by that I mean like observing claims of power. This is why I talk about things like observing claims of legitimacy or validity or whatever. Consider the what is it? The sanctuary cities. Oh, hey Melky, how's it going, buddy? Check tele and Twitter. If you don't observe their claims of legitimacy, then they don't actually have any power. And that's one of the things that like I kind of grapple with, because the revolutionaries, like on a certain level, I kind of agree with them on a certain level, but on the other hand, like once you just move into murder brigades, like it's not cool at all. Anyway, I see that we have Daniel over here. Let me transition over to Daniel. I just got to make sure that I'm not boomer teching. Looks like I've got everything together. Daniel, can you give a quick howdy so I can check your volume levels? You there, buddy? Okay, I've got desktop is open. Maybe Daniel doesn't hear me, but I'm gonna keep. Well, I see Jonathan has joined us. Oh, Daniel is muted. That's why. Hey, Jonathan, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Nice. Okay, so Jonathan is here. Daniel is here. He might be away from mic. I bet Daniel is away from his mic. I bet that's going on. At any rate, so I've been thinking a little bit.
I'm here.
Oh, hey, buddy. How you doing, pal?
I'm okay. It's just that I had too many windows open. My computer was slowed down.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the same boat. My monitor has been threatening to die for the past, like, 3 months. And
my computer's really old.
Yeah, if my screen has too much white on it or whatever, like it just shorts. It's too much energy or something. And the whole monitor's like, yep, fuck off. We're done. So I have to, like, restart my freaking monitor like an idiot. It's horrible. So, like, I get it. Oh, no. Daniel. Oh, no, he dropped off. Oh, well. He'll pop in, so that's fine. Hey, Jonathan, how's it going, buddy?
Alright, what's up?
Not much. At the moment, I'm... I probably should be doing, like, more responsible things. I'm only, like, partways through your paper, by the way, speaking of, like, being not responsible at all.
Hey, that's better than I expected.
Yeah, I know. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. But anyway, yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about basically what it's going to look like for us to stop allowing other people to dictate to us how we should live our lives and what we should be doing with our resources. I.e., there are complete dickholes who are saying, give us your resources so we can give it to people who hate you. And one of the nice things about the French Revolution is that, well, yeah, they said no to the aristocracy, who were kind of retarded. So, like, I kind of like that, but I think that moving into murder brigades is not so hot. So it's like, oh, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's something. Thoughts within the context of contemporary civilization? Go.
Sorry about that. While I was closing Windows, I accidentally closed the Hangout window.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, okay, so I want to get Jonathan Pohl's opinion first, and then Daniel. So, Daniel, for the sake of context, I'm thinking about what it would look like, the kinds of decision-making patterns that one would engage in to basically stop acquiescing to complete dickholes, self-appointed rulers, neo-aristocracy, whatever, who are demanding that we owe them fealty and also give them resources, so that those people, those bastards, can give those resources to people that hate us. And I want to get Jonathan Pohl's opinion, and then your opinion, Daniel. Jonathan Pohl, go.
Well, I think you kind of right starting in the French Revolution, beginning of the idea of modern European nationalism is the people are sovereign, and therefore the people control the national resources, not a ruling class over the people, as it were. So that's, I think, intellectually fits into Daniel's idea kind of left-wing nationalism that develops in some places in Europe and elsewhere. This idea that control over national resources has to be by the people of the nation and not by a ruling elite, particularly one that is not loyal to the nation, that will then give them to foreigners or outsiders or people who do not belong to the nation in an ethnic sense, particularly in Europe, and then later this idea spreads to Asia and Africa with the anti-colonial movements.
I'm pleasantly surprised by Jonathan's remarks. I agree with that largely. It's that as a revolutionary movement, or as a movement that's keen on wresting our sovereignty from elite exploitation and betrayal, it would be a unionization of the ethno nation, of the people, that our resources and our boundaries are not to be exceeded. And so I agree with that, but I think that it has to be started by a coordination on the basis of our genetics. And then we can worry about actual land claims.
That's a thing that I've been thinking about as well, which is because I still have it in my head. This is still, it sounds silly to me in a way, but like almost provincial. But I keep thinking to myself about treason trials, and I do understand that going back to the whole France 1870 thing.
Well, I'm not enamored of that. I don't want to make it seem like that's like my model exactly.
Yeah, well, no, but the point though is that, like, I do think that there is something to the idea of in-group preference. I think we should have fealty to people who are of our ilk. I think that's perfectly rational and logical. It makes perfect sense to me. And I think that dealing with those who are basically betraying us, for want of a better word, there's probably a much better euphemism that I could use, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
That's fine.
But I think that there is something to the idea of treason trials. It's just that can get way out of hand really fast, and I don't like that aspect of it.
Well, I think that we ought to begin with separatism from them, to try to be as separate from them as possible.
Yeah.
And where we can't ostracize them. Then we can worry about, when we gain enough power, we can worry about holding to account those who are really criminally liable.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wonder to myself what it would look like, because I
don't know what you mean by that. Why don't you explain?
Well,
what it would look like?
Okay, A to B basically, just A to B, practical real world steps. Okay, let's say for a moment that you decide to take it upon yourself to actually create something that is separate. Okay, all right, fine. We're gonna call it the Separate Nation of Nationalists, whatever the hell that means. Who cares? Yeah, it doesn't matter what it's called. It doesn't matter.
The ethno-nationalists.
Yeah, with the Ethnat the Sepnat, whatever, the Separate Nation. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Ethno-national separatists.
Yeah, well, but I'm talking about like an actual organization, an organized body. Okay. So we'll call them NatOrg. It doesn't matter. Okay, NatOrg. So you've created NatOrg. Okay, great. Now you've got NatOrg. Now, once you've got this NatOrg, well, now what? NatOrg can't possibly exist as a larger legal entity because probably tax reasons or something. You know, and I'm certainly not advocating anything illegal. But I'm just saying, like, if you've got this NatOrg,
You don't have to.
if you've got this NatOrg, it's basically meaningless other than as like a way to engage in bake sales, really, or maybe.
Well, I don't know why you go so quickly into like physical, real life interaction as opposed to collecting a database of people who share common genetics and common interests.
Okay.
To me, that would be the A to B. You have the name, and then you go to like, just collecting, those who would like to be a part of this.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. So what you're saying is that the NatOrg, whatever it is, just we'll call it a collection of people that have similar ideas that are agreeing to at least communicate with each other, and that's it.
Well, like for example, Jonathan Pohl would say, yes, I would like to preserve my distinct German people, but I'm not against others, and I'm of a family that's part Asian as well, so I'd like to flesh out the group that has people who are basically of a European bias, but a bit mixed. So that will be a different nation, but it's in cooperation with the other nations, the ones that want to be perhaps more pure, and so on. You begin fleshing out categories. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so do you know of any organizations that are doing anything like that?
No, I'm hoping that that will start one. I've been
Okay.
Because, well, I mean, it seems to be genetic testing seems to be very popular. People are doing it all over the place, so they're interested in this and they care about it, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just about talking about it and promoting it, and it could be promoted in the same way that people care about preserving species and
I do like that idea.
democracies.
In all honesty, one of my favorite weird memes from late 2018 was the red squirrel versus gray squirrel thing in England. The red squirrel is slowly being encroached upon by the gray squirrel, and it's going extinct in some areas. And I thought that was a great way. Like it wasn't pushed, unfortunately, but it's a great way of explaining to people the idea that when you have a foreign population that's being given a lot of resources and advantages, it will choke out the indigenous population. And I thought that was a great meme. And I think that if there was
the invasive species,
yeah, exactly, just regular invasive species.
like the brown snake in Guam that came over on ships.
Yeah, or what is
Seeing
it,
all the bird
the
eggs.
cane frog or cane toad in Australia?
The buffalo toad from Jamaica was brought over to Australia, and
Yeah, and it's
it
just
has no natural predators in Australia, and it's basically immune to everything. The only way to kill it is to physically beat the thing to death because there aren't any poison. No.
yeah. I saw this Australian guy that just hated those toads, and he was driving his mid '90s VW Vanagon down the road, and he was aiming his car toward the toads. But the thing is that there were quite literally hundreds of thousands of toads in front of him.
And they're poisonous.
Yeah.
So what happens a lot is that your dogs will eat one
Yeah,
and
yeah.
die.
So
Well, let me say this: when I travel across Europe and I see the different kinds of European peoples and cultures, I love it. Don't you? I go to Germany and I'm buying some cheese and from this delightful blonde woman. I said, well, I like some of that Jarlsberg. It's just what? Oh, Jarlsberg.
that's really depressing,
like-
Daniel. I can't handle that because I don't have that here in Los Angeles. Okay, but continue.
But and it's wonderful. And then you go and have a big beer at the Hofbrauhaus, and then you'll go over to France, and it's like art everywhere, just the most incredible culture. And
That sounds like paradise. Oh my god.
well, it was. I mean, it's being destroyed, but this is the idea. So it's a matter of curating these different species of Europeans, and you know we can pretty much offer the same, you know, to others. It's like, you know, or make the same case. Like, you want to preserve your people, don't you? Well, let's be ecologists about this and preserve our species.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once we do that, and that's enough of a project. That's really the essence of it. Then we can, like, at the same time we can concentrate on staking out land claims.
Yeah, I think
And then make our cooperation bigger so that we can become a political force and hopefully, you know, take over nations, retake our nations, and then hold up to our antagonists in that way. I mean, you guys are smart enough to do it. You just don't know it yet.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
You guys are smart enough to do it. You just don't know it yet. The Jews aren't smarter than you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to be running for a local office. I have to actually submit the paperwork. It's already like July. I can't believe I've waited for this long. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to make that happen.
You're going to be an office holder in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be like the tiniest bullshit position ever. Like, it's basically title only with no power whatsoever.
You'll be co-host chairman. Co-host chairman.
On the Board of Education?
Something like that, yeah.
That's cool.
And I don't. The point though is not the power, or to
The experience?
a combination of experience and also as a token, just to prove.
And networking, I guess.
Well, no, it's just to prove that it's possible. That's it. The idea is just to show that, look, I am some, you know, tiny little guy that doesn't amount to too terribly much, and if I can do it, you can do it. That's it. That's the only thing. That's the only reason. And
Well, that's great, and it's not mutually exclusive to, you know, our beginning to coordinate as a people.
yeah.
And then, you know, hopefully develop a, you know, kind of a concept of unionization.
Well,
on this basis.
yeah, and I mean, the thing is, there's all of this like hideous nepotism that goes on with the communists, and I can't help but think, well, shit, it sucks, but we're gonna have to start fighting fire with fire in some way, you know?
Well, I mean, is it really nepotistic for a nation to look after itself? I mean,
In a
I guess
way,
you could call it
by
that.
definition, yes.
Well, I mean,
Nep-
yeah,
In
I
the
mean,
sense that a nation is an extended family, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, but nepotism usually is more like narrowly, literally a family.
Yeah, no,
that's that's taking advantage within.
Yeah,
a
so
system where,
yeah, what
where
I'm
other
saying
people
is
are
that
being
on
included.
an etymological level, nepotism derives from the word for nephew. So
Right.
complete family, in group, you know, whatever. And yes, I concur with you that it has a negative connotation, and I understand that. And, you know, maybe I'm talking about it, maybe I'm not. I don't really even know anymore. The point is that there's no one looking out for us. That's the point. And there,
Well, that's why we have to begin looking at
precisely, there is a lot of nepotism that's going on here in Los Angeles. If your last name is Gutierrez or Hernandez, then you're going to get into power because all you have to do is register and your last name is Gutierrez or Hernandez. And anyone...
I bet Guzman is another one.
And Perez.
Well, and also Bergmanstein, but the thing is that
Well, Perez I brought up because Perez is a converso name.
okay, but no, the point is simply the following. No one's looking out for anyone named Smith or Jones. That's the point. And we need to start getting into positions of power so that we can look out for Mr. Smith or Mr. Jones or Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Jones.
Well, I think that you have to begin with unionization, like connection. If devising a network, if you're going to get power, though.
It would be funny
so that you help each other.
I think it'd be funny to call it like the General Workers Union or something.
Well, I don't. It doesn't have to be so like corny and anachronistic. Just like the union of what, I don't know what, but
it doesn't matter.
Maybe it shouldn't even be called a union at this point, because
it doesn't matter though.
Legally, it might run into a problem.
Well, we could just call it a club. We could just call it a club, and it could be it could be the club for people who like orange soda pop. It doesn't actually matter. The name doesn't matter. I'm trying to think of it from the standpoint of Ford. No, not Ford.
Well, so here's the thing. If it's based on genetics, I mean, it's like we're just trying to cure. What can someone say who's not of this genetics who wants to be a member? They're just a club of haplogroup X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
They can't say, well, you're excluding me from.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, we are excluding you. You're not. This is not your haplogroup.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I'm just trying to think about things that we can do, and I kind of like the idea of having something that you can just point to and say, there's a thing happening, that is the thing that's happening. Son of a gun. Sorry. I'm still getting over being sick. That's really embarrassing. Coughing in the middle of the... Anyway.
I got some antibiotics. You want me to send them to you?
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. There's no way they'll degrade in the mail. Yeah.
I'll bring them next month. This is some pretty powerful stuff they got here over now.
Yeah. Kurdish grade. Anyway,
it's an interesting problem how to deal with negotiate the categories for the people who want their more pure kinds, the people who are more mixed Europeans, and the people who are Europeans who have some family that are mixed with non-whites. How to negotiate that situation?
Yeah, because there are going to be instances where there are people that are sympathetic, and like they may not be allowed in terms of their genetics. So it's like, unfortunately, I kind of feel like they're going to have to be hard cutoffs, and it sucks. But I think that just has to be the case, because the point is to.
But there could be nations for mixed people too. I mean,
right. Yeah, and I'm actually generally okay with that, I guess. I mean, like there's any room for me to say I'm not okay with that. Like, that's retarded sounding. That sounds stupid now that I say it.
The all-powerful man.
Yeah, it's my...
I don't know. You used to have lots of European heritage societies, and it's not really a problem.
Yeah, I would like to do that, though.
I'm giving the paper the American Historical Society of Germans from Russia, and it's the largest heritage society of ethnic Germans from Russia in the U.S. and Canada. It has about 2,000 members. Not a huge number, but I know they have one black member because I met him in Minnesota, but I think he's the only black member.
I love it.
And does he have any German mix in him?
No, he was living with a woman of German from Russian descent, but he knew a lot more about the history of our group than most of us did. So,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with him.
And I just want to throw it out there. Ash All Day says that she wants a nation united in Christ. And
okay.
I think because
we're gonna have to deal with that. There's gonna be some nations that are Christian.
Yeah, because
and some that aren't.
There are some people, and I agree with them, by the way. There's some people that have made the assertion that if you deify race, that's pretty fucking hollow, and that sucks. And I agree. And I think that
Well, I don't know that I don't know. I'm personally, that's not my angle. I don't look to deify a race.
Right.
I deify our patterns at their best, and
Yeah.
and the religious aspect, the semi-transcendent aspect, has to do with the fact that, in my opinion anyway, a lot, if not most of our people are not very good, and even those ones who are very good are far from perfect. So you need that semi-transcendent pattern
yeah.
of our race. It's not our people who are sacred, but this pattern
Yeah.
that we are that we revere, which transcends our foibles and allows us to, and helps us to get beyond
Yeah, and
cynicism and skepticism of our worthiness.
yeah, and I just want to, because I agree. The way that I'm looking at the DNA Nation thing is really more a matter of like preservation. Like I like Jonathan Poll's framing of like historical preservation society or something. Or like if you're dealing, again, going back to the gray squirrel, red squirrel issue, where it's not, there's no deification of the red squirrel genome at all. It's just a matter of, well, you know, we exist, and then we just want to go ahead and make sure that, you know, we just keep doing that, I guess. And so it's not like, it's not this...
Well, it could be a society of, the conservation of human ecologies.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because that's harder to argue with, you know.
There are departments in universities, literally, of human ecology. I haven't looked into them much.
Oh, it'd be funny to call it like the Diversity Preservation Club or something. That'd be funny.
Yeah, I thought about starting a society, literally a society of pervasive ecology and paradigmatic conservatism. Paradigmatic conservatism meaning that the borders of the nation are
Yeah.
pretty tight, and individual liberties within is fairly free.
Yeah.
Different ways to
Excuse me.
But anyway, pervasive ecology.
Yeah, I like that angle, and I think that would, because again, I say I'm just trying to think about good A to B thought patterns. I'm just trying to think about, okay, fine, so, you know,
And we have the moral high ground in connecting with other people on the basis of pervasive ecology as well, because
okay, so when you
then we're concerned about our common interest in the health of the earth and the environment,
yeah, okay.
as well as our human ecology.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to model it after something that already exists, because I want to make it as, or rather, in a perfect world, one would want to make it as ironclad as possible, bulletproof, and coated in Teflon, so that nothing can get to it. And
I don't know who can argue against pervasive ecology.
yeah, well, no, but
They can ignore it. They can ignore it. I organized a conference basically on that theme, and it featured 5 top-ranking American professors from the humanities, and 3 of them were Jewish. And the best they could do was to just not address the topic, because it's like we couldn't really argue against it. But because it wasn't really in their interest, they didn't quite want to deal with it. But I did have Gregory Bateson and Margaret Mead's daughter actually here. And she loved it.
what if we put together like a little tiny, like, how would because it'd be cool to do. I do this within whenever I'm editing. I like to put together a test edit, just to see if it'll kind of work. And usually the test edit amounts to nothing more than throwing footage and audio into the bay and just getting a couple of clips to sync up to see what happens. And that's my idea of a test edit. And it might be instructive to do like a test edit of this idea of, what would you call it? Pervasive
ecology. Pervasive ecology, and which would include human ecology.
Okay.
I like the term paradigmatic conservatism. I think it sounds cool, but you don't have to go with that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm less
Because you-
concerned with what it's called. You could call it the Society for Orange Popsicles, and I'd be fine. I wouldn't care. I'm much more interested in.
Before I forget, did you hear about this? What's it called? Entropy, the new kind of hangout medium to replace this once Google Hangouts goes by the wayside.
No, I didn't.
Mark Collette did a video with its creators, and it sounds like it's pretty good.
Really?
It's going to be even more user friendly, and it's designed with those who've been banned from YouTube in mind. So
Really?
yeah, they're trying to help us.
Nice.
I'll put the, let me find the link. I have
Entropy, you say? Okay. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
check it
Yeah,
out.
not Church of Entropy, just Entropy.
Yeah.
yeah, God help us.
Yeah.
She I'm not the biggest JF fan, but he did well to mitigate the Church of Entropy.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
He
I
just
did hear that
he started off by saying that he thought that she was full of shit before she even started talking, which was good.
Hey man, going strong as far as I'm concerned. I'll take it. Okay, so I'll check out the entropy.
Here, I'm putting it into the
Okay.
window.
I have to go and do a thing, so my apologies. AFK.
Oh, that's good.
BRB. I'm gonna let you guys talk amongst yourselves, but and I'll come back in a minute. But I just want to go ahead and throw it out there that I think that it might be good to start thinking about what an actual organization would look like, because once we have an actual organization that has like people talking with each other or whatever, you start moving in the right direction, I think. Now, there are a lot of issues with that, and I can hear every objection in my head just saying it, you know.
Yeah, infiltration, lawsuits.
Exactly.
Tort law.
Yeah. Well, and also like because no offense to the Germans, I love Germans. I think Germans are great. Huge fan of Germans.
You don't have to.
Where's the
camera.
bug? What's going on? You've got my curiosity.
Well, just that I want one for Scots, and I would join the one for Scots.
Well, yeah, no, that's the whole thing, is that we like our different species.
Yeah, exactly, precisely. Yeah.
Europeans, quote, aka white, are the genus, and
Yeah.
we want to preserve a different species. You know, it's
Yeah.
like nothing against any of us. Matter of fact, I like our different kinds. It's exactly why I don't
I'm
blend it away.
Exactly. I'm a huge fan of the Germans.
I'm also not against the blended kinds. It's just, you know, they can, yeah.
Yeah, but it would be nice to
have
have,
those.
because you can blends, like, you can't blend out, you can only blend in, you know. You can't reduce the mixture, you can only increase the mixture. And
I want to preserve the Scottish as well. The Scottish
exactly,
have, like,
exactly.
they've made some amazing contributions to everything.
Exactly.
Philosophy, science.
We have made some of the most amusing, nonsensical, barely
There
comprehensible
were
accents
Scottish
ever.
ethnic heritage organizations in California. I know they used to have Scottish games in Orange County and in Sacramento every year.
Those are dying,
where they
number
were-
one. Number two, I remember way
Well, they
back.
were big when I was young, and I'm not even Scottish.
Right, I'm just
but I
saying,
remember
okay,
going
so
to them
those-
every single year.
Those are dying, and I remember when I was young that there were some Mexican people in the pipe bands, and Asian people in the pipe bands.
We didn't have that.
So I'm not.
I'm sorry to laugh.
No, it's okay. Obviously, I don't have anything at all against Mexicans in general. Like, I don't care. But the moment you've got Mexicans in a pipe band, it's not Scottish anymore. So.
Well, I'm remembering back to like the 70s, 80s. I think the last time I went to one would have been in the late 90s.
No, I'm all for preserving the distinct species. That's like really a very fundamental part of what the DNA Nations is about, is preserving our distinct kinds. I love it. I love our different species.
But my general point is there used to be and there still is kind of unfortunately a dying sense these European cultural historical heritage organizations.
It's kind of like not sneaky enough though. If I think that I'm gleaning on Eki's concern, it's not like it's a bit too head on. It's a bit too clumsy to say that you're just about like the Irish Society or something. Whereas if you're coming as pervasive ecology and interested in preservation of different species, it's a little bit harder to.
Well, I'm a 20th century guy, so back in the 20th century, there was an Irish Society in this.
Yeah, I'm sure there still is.
Yeah, and the Scottish one, and there's still American Historical Society, Germans from Russia, and Germans from Russia Heritage Society. Although I'm like the youngest guy around there, and I'm almost 50, so they haven't recruited youth. It's a major problem.
Yeah, I never felt comfortable in meshing in either of my ethnicities, societies, and it wasn't going to join any Italian American club or Polish American club.
But I don't think I think if you like the advantage it has if you put it out there with the name in it is that you're not going to get a whole lot of people outside of the ethnic group wanting to join. As I said, out of 2,000 members, you had one, I think, black guy, and that was because he was a widower that hooked up with a widow from the group. But other than that,
that is an advantage. Yeah. Well, I'm not. It's not necessarily mutually exclusive to naming the particular subgroups after their ethnicity either, the German or Irish society. But the overall rubric, Union of Unions. Right. Might be better off going under under the auspices of pervasive ecology.
Okay.
Well, the good thing about pervasive ecology is that it's not. It's you can universalize it as a concern. It's a concern to everybody, and yet it's not bound up to any like foundational idea because ecology is always a matter of optimality and homeostasis. So it's an ongoing concern.
My worry is that if you want to get recruitment from normal people, you have to have language that they understand.
Well, so you use language that you understand, but it doesn't. Most people understand ecology and species and so forth, and it's very popular to do these genetic tests. So I do think that they will understand.
Yeah, but you see the genetic test in the Heritage Society, because the Heritage Societies are obsessed with reconstructing genealogy. So in addition to more traditional forms of genealogy, they've all been doing the genetic tests for many years now. That has been incorporated into these European Heritage Societies for decades now.
How's it going, guys? I'm back. So while I was hanging out with my kitty, I realized I can't imagine joining one of these
I can't either. The Heritage
We're going to put you in a kilt and have you participate in the log throwing every year at the Scottish.
It's called the Caber.
But you know what my problem is? I realize my problem is that I'm really interested and concerned about the genetics, I'm not interested about like little cultural things like the Columbus Day parade of of Italians and eating cannolis or something. It's like this is not gonna do it for me. I think the bagpipes is a little different. I think that's a more radical, cool thing. And some of the things the Italians got, the Feast of San Gerardo or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't know.
No, I know. That's the thing is that, because I want to have something that I can point to and say, I'm cool with being a part of that. And if, like, because I kind of did like the Highland Games when I was a kid. They were a combination of, like, really lame and really cool at the same time. It's hard to explain. And now that
What was lame about them?
What's that?
I never saw anything lame about them.
Well, I mean, come on. When you're like a little kid, you're just around a bunch of people that are like, hey, we're Scott, and let's go to the same location in time, space, and stare at each other.
Well, listen, doesn't everybody want to preserve the rainforests? I think everybody wants to preserve, and yet we're not from the Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'm not from Scotland, and I want to preserve Scotland. It's like this is one of our major features.
Well, no,
we're preserving we want to preserve these.
No, I get it. I get it.
Peoples and cultures.
I'm on board. I get it. I'm just saying that, like, the Highland Games is not preserving jack shit, like, at all. It's not doing anything, and in fact, I can pretty much guarantee you that the people that are running the Highland Games are going full multicultural. I can almost guarantee you that.
Wouldn't it be cool if we got to a point where we had enough of a database, and it's like, oh, well, look at all these Scottish women that we got, these brilliant, beautiful Scottish women. It's like, maybe we should like introduce this one to Aculux, based on a lot of criteria, they seem like it'd be a good match.
I would be okay with that.
That's the point that I'm hoping to get to.
Yeah. So, but in a way, you're talking about a dating site, in a way.
No. That would be just like a matching site would be a feature of it.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's not.
I mean, I'm not saying dating site literally, but I think you understand what I mean from a joking standpoint.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I tried to set you up with that Scottish lady on Ash.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So.
Yeah. But the thing is that the possibility of a group like this, while it sounds great, I'm trying to think about what it would be like to actually like join one and what you would do. Because once you're actually a part of such a group, like what you join like a mailing service or something, and then you correspond.
Well, let's say you begin developing a database of people who are interested in preserving their European kinds, and then you begin sorting them, what Bowery calls a sortocracy, and then you begin seeing, locating them where they are, and then seeing what kind of real life activity that they could do to advance our interests. Some will begin staking out like little land claims and counties. There's all kinds of things that can.
Okay, I like that last little bit of staking out claims, because that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, but you tend to, in my opinion, this is where we get into problems, because you want to go there too quickly before you have a connection, sufficient.
You're not going to get a connection by simply.
Or a sufficient group of people who are interested in preserving their European kinds.
Right.
From wherever they are, they're not going to be collected in one place necessarily.
Well, but I'm just trying to think about the vast majority of the relationships that I've had in life have started with physical 3D contact. Being in the same physical environment as the person next to me is usually the basis for a relationship. I mean, say what you will, no one here has any kind of a relationship with some random person actually in Bangladesh. That's just not the way it works.
Well, I've never met any of you in person, but the thing is that it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. What I'm saying is that you might be right that a genetic database won't lead to you meeting your significant other. It's an ideal, but it's not, even if it doesn't, it's not mutually exclusive to you meeting somebody in real life.
Right, but I'm just saying that, like, if you, okay, so I would have limited elite, like, if some weird event happened or something, I would have limited allegiance to the people that I've met in these chats. Nothing against anyone, just that, you know, everyone here, like, is really, really, really far away from me. And it would be hard for me. As for a person that's, like, down the road from me, it would be easier for me to have allegiance to that person. So all I'm saying is that, yes, you are indicating that maybe I'm going a bit premature with going to a physical location. I kind of agree with that, by the way, because it can come off as culty really fast. It's just that I don't, that's the logical progression. I'm just trying to think about, again, A to B. I'm just trying to figure out.
I think that your problem is your psychological circumstance. I understand you. I think that you're right now suffering and desperate to get to a place that's white, so that you're not like just in this kind of hellscape. I think that's why that's your priority now.
Yeah.
You got to get to someplace white. To begin with, you got to get to someplace white so you can begin to recover before you work on these more.
You're probably right, because sometimes I just look outside and I'm like, fuck.
I couldn't stand it. I'm 2 months in America and I'm climbing the walls. I absolutely cannot stand it, what I see around all over the place.
Yeah.
So I had to get to a white place, and even when I did that, it took years to flush America out of my system.
Yeah, because legit, not an exaggeration, and I'm not kidding. I can't stress this enough. I'm not joking. There is only one single female that I would regard as an even possible prospect around me, and she's not interested. So it's like, well, here you go. And even me, like, I'm only half interested, and it's only because she's closer in phenotype. And it's like, well, shit, that's not a good basis at all, number one. Number two, well,
this is the kind of nightmare. This is the utter nightmare of America.
Yeah.
And then you have to see the indignation of the race mixers, and it's just like it drives me absolutely insane. It's like we're the kind of guy, we create these women, for God's sake.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I'm starting to think about doing bolder, more impressive things with my life now is just because it's like, fuck it, man. People like intrigue, people like fun. Chicks love intrigue and fun, so just do something fun.
Swashbucklers, yeah.
And if you do something fun, then chicks will pay attention. They're like, well, hey, you know what? If nothing else, that guy might be retarded, but he's fun to be around, so I'll go with it. And that's my thought pattern at the moment. So. Well,
again, remember that it's a really strong biological urge for women to have children, and a lot of women will become interested in you when they understand that
yeah,
interested in having children.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you have enough in common otherwise. So it's not just
yeah. Well, this is one of the reasons why I'm thinking to myself about what it would be like to lead a somewhat outlandish life. Because then once you start doing things like that, you start filtering people out really fast. The people that are not on board, they will stay away from you, and it will never be...
Well, there are women like that too, women are into rock climbing and adventures.
Yeah, well, my idea of rock climbing is like filming Antifa groups from within. So,
dude, that's dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, because I'm going to be going to more... Because I missed the past, like, 2 weeks for reasons. But, like, I want to start recording more of those little things. Like, when I went to go and see the communists that defected into East Germany, I want to do more of that.
I think one of our first events of this European Preservation Society is going to be a eulogy and celebration of the life of Eke.
Yeah. The ridiculous life of Eke. Yeah.
Whatever parts we can scrounge up to bury from the Antifa.
Yeah. Okay.
Communist infiltration of Eastern Europe. You're talking about Merkel?
No, there was a guy who.
Some guy went the other way.
Yeah, there was a guy. It's on my other channel, but there was a guy that he went to Germany and he was a communist, and he was like, I don't like America. I don't want to fight for America. And so he defected into East Germany, and he lived there until the fall. Yeah. And he was talking, he was like extolling...
Defected East Germany.
No, but get this. So he was extolling the virtues of East Germany, and he was like, oh yeah, by the way, you know, like there were bread shortages.
I hear that was the worst, East Germany.
No, it was awful. No, every description that he made was terrible. It was awful. And he kept trying to, like, and you can hear it, like, just if you go into my other channel, Alex live streams, and just look it up, it's there. It's from like a month ago or something. And no, it was just freaking surreal listening to that guy, because nothing about it sounded good at all. But he was all about it. He was like, no, it was great. And he was basically going on the Bernie Sanders spiel of free shit. They gave us free shit. We had free medical care, and our food, our lunches only cost 1 mark. Can you believe it? 1 mark.
And yeah, the Honecker too, right? This car that was made out of...
Yeah, he was talking about how people basically didn't have cars, and that the cars weren't all that good and shit. And he had to qualify everything. Again, just listen to it. If you listen to it, he talks about it. Anyway, I want to go and do more stuff like that. I want to film more people.
But wasn't that like some museum that was basically like the Jews, LA Jewish Communist Lovers Society or
That's
something?
That's literally what it was. I mean, not literally in the sense of like they called themselves, but de facto, like
the description says.
Yeah, if you actually look up who was attending, and who funds it, and who runs it and organizes it, that actually is the case. It's basically like 80% fellow whites.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that it is.
Fiberglass, that was the material behind the Honecker's chassis.
That's a Trabant. Yeah, it's made out of fiberglass.
Yeah. Just imagine if we had something like that for us. You know, a preservation society with like meats and a museum. You know, where people are like, hey, look at this thing and this, you know, that's been.
They can wear that workers type hat that all the communists wear.
Yeah.
Oh, the little slouch hat.
Well, they're not far off. They're not far off at all from it. You know, like they actually did.
Lenin
they
had.
came in regalia.
Oh, yeah.
They came in regalia, and they were actually like. It's hard to explain, but you knew who was showing up. You could just see it. It's really weird. And of course, they were all like upper middle class.
It is a big event. We're not, nevertheless, we're not against people with money and property. It's not,
no,
it's not
I don't care. Like I'm fine. No, my complaint.
As long as they don't betray us.
Yeah, my complaint is simply that these socialists, they were all people that drove like Mercedes and shit, and they're talking about
even driving Trabant.
Yeah, we're the one. We have to listen to them. We have to give up our civilization and society. Meanwhile, they have fucking Mercedes Benzes. Fuck that.
That was famously the situation in Poland as well.
Yeah.
All the people in power after the fall of communism were the former communists. And they're the ones who had all the money.
Yeah. So that's my complaint. I don't care, like, because I would actually be completely fine. Like I would be on board with helping a person that has more money than me, like a person that actually does have a Mercedes Benz. If I knew for a fact that they genuinely were on my side, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, whatever, dude.
Me neither. I'm not jealous.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. It's fine. You know.
They can have a hot wife, big house.
Yeah, because in all likelihood they're gonna have my back, and while I'm not gonna get a Mercedes,
they're gonna need your back. That's the idea with the citizens' dividend that Bowery's talking about on the basis of the laboratory of the states. Is that, you know, these big landholders, they need people to help protect them, protect their interests. That's why they're taxed beyond a certain holding,
Yeah,
It
because
goes towards,
I can tell you,
citizens,
in all honesty,
infantry.
some of these people, some of these de facto landed gentry that live in Los Angeles serve on city council that talk about the utter destruction of what Los Angeles used to be. Should shit hit the fan, I will not have their back. And I will not come to their aid. And if anything happens to them, I'm going to watch the live stream.
Yeah, no, that's a great, and that's a great point. And it's like, and they should know that, and they don't deserve it, because they're supposed to support their people, and when they have, that's why they're taxed when they have beyond what they need for their family homestead, then they're supposed to be taxed so that other people will help protect their interests.
Yeah. By the way, Psych says Eke is just realizing that the anti-white narrative is perpetuated by the upper class as a tool against the lower classes. No, I've known that for over a year. I'm very aware of that. I'm aware of how in the shadows we are, and how the name of this stream, the title of this stream is "No One's Coming to Save Us." That's the entire.
That's right.
Point.
They want to believe that they have their great wealth and their position on sheerly objective grounds. They know they owe nothing to us,
yeah.
And the YKW are encouraging that.
IQ, I hear.
Yeah,
I hear they have higher IQ and
they have higher IQ
and a better geographical.
They're hardworking. They're all this stuff. They have greater virtue. They deserve it on sheerly objective grounds, and the YKW are encouraging that. Like this is like a big part of. I hate to say it, but Luke Ford's angle. It's like and Kyle's angle over there is that they want to believe that they owe really nothing to their people, and they have no indebtedness to them. And it's not true. They do owe account and respect and mutual support if they're to get it in return. Otherwise, they're just, if they don't care, they're just traitors. They want to, oh yeah, I'm rich and fuck you, I don't care.
Well, yeah, and this is see, now that would be kind of a basis for the mailing list. I think I'll call it the mailing list for now because I don't have a better descriptor of it.
That's a good idea.
But that would be...
Yeah, you might make a short email explaining that situation. And, a lot of them are taking the payoff from the YKW.
Yeah.
That's how they're getting really rich. It's like, and so
I've watched it.
You're not like all those racists.
No, I've actually watched it. There's a guy that I used to know a million years ago, and he was just some dude. Oh, and Psych Myth, I'm not trying to come down on you at all, by the way. Just
well, there's no elite Wignats. I was knighted at the Wignat table.
Okay.
Am I not an elite?
All right. Anyway,
Sir Jonathan.
But no, I knew this guy. He was just some dude. He drove like an old pickup or whatever, not particularly cool, not really going anywhere, and he decided, seemingly out of the blue one day, that he was gonna run for city council, and within a couple of months, he was showing up in suits that cost a pretty fair amount of money, and he stopped talking to me pretty quick.
Wow.
And it's like,
Halsley sent him to the tailor, huh?
Classic sellout.
It happens really fast. Really,
oh, man.
really fast.
Money doesn't talk, it screams.
Yes. And this guy, yeah, it's like he was doing.
It's hard not to do because it's like, you see, so many white people are such assholes that you wind up saying, well, fuck it, I'm gonna just look out for number one.
Yeah, and well, part of that is because there's not as much in group and I see this a lot, and I'm not trying to, they're whatever. It's just a thing. There's so many people that are willing to virtue signal that they will do it all the way to the point of actually harming their own kind. And
yes.
In other cases, there's a lack of in-group preference. Unfortunately, white people are the least racist people on the planet.
That's right.
And that's both good and bad. It's kind of good only in the sense that, like, at least we're not total bastards to the other, races, which is kind of good, I guess. But the bad side of that is that we're just like, oh, fuck it, I got a great idea. What's that? I'm going to go ahead and, align myself.
Get fucked in the ass.
Exactly. I'm going to align myself with people that actually backdoor hate me. And then I'm going to fuck over my own family and my own people. And I've experienced this, like, in my own life. I'm serious. Like, I've experienced this in my own life with people that I know. And it's depressing.
Yeah.
But with a mailing list where people are kind of on the same page or something, and the idea of, look, again, no one's coming to save us.
You don't have to worry about it because Claire Cause is going to save us. She's declared herself leader of the alt-right. Leader of the alt-right.
That's true. What am I thinking? Never mind.
So it's
but she hasn't sent any instructions to the one member of the alt-right left, Andy Nowicki.
It's also
still waiting for
let's
his
just.
instructions.
I think it's this is a great time to point it out that Claire Caw is the one person that is out group that will save us. So we should absolutely sign over allegiance.
And she's going to save us because she's not prejudiced against Jewry.
Exactly. That's so.
Yeah, okay.
Oh God. Anyway, okay, moving on. No, I do like the idea of a mailing list where the announcement is if no one's coming to save us, we have to save ourselves. And so here's some people that might be able to help you or whatever. I don't know, something like that. There might be something.
Well, okay, don't make that the only mailing because that might come across as a bit shrill to some people.
Well, no. I agree. Again, I'm trying to think about A to B. I'm just trying to think about like.
Okay, you're brainstorming. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't.
That might work for some people.
Yeah, because I don't care one way or the other how all of this starts, just so long as A, it starts, and B, it ends up going to a place. That's really all I care about. Again, A to B. Okay, what's B? B is to be in a situation, maybe I am.
Yeah, you need to create the network where there is affinity and where there is in-group preference.
Yeah.
If you don't get the network to come together, you're in trouble.
Aki wants to go to Ruby Ridge first.
Oh God.
No.
Oh God.
Well, why not? It's beautiful up there.
Yeah. No, I gotta get the fuck out of Los Angeles.
Ruby Ridge.
I gotta leave this place. Tomorrow's the last day that we can buy ammunition. Before.
It's okay. We can use swords. Fight with the Somalis with machetes.
Yeah. Well, while the drug cartels have literal AK-47s.
You can have a bow and arrow. There's a guy on
yeah.
Metzger's. One of Metzger's goers was recommending that. That was very funny.
I gotta leave. I gotta leave.
If you hit somebody with an arrow, then you might not kill them with it, but they're going to be in bad shape if they get an arrow through their shoulder.
Let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can find.
You don't have to have a license to own a bow and arrow, do you?
You didn't when I was there, but I don't know. California's weird.
I'm trying to find.
Maybe a crossbow, but I don't think a regular bow and arrow.
Yeah, I think you have to have a license to have a crossbow now, but I think longbow or even a compound bow you can have without a license. But
Yeah,
California,
you might be able to defend yourself with it.
There's I'm trying to find the information. 18th Street is a gang in Los Angeles.
Mexican?
And they do, as far as I know anyway, they do a...
So why are you a member?
Well, there's graffiti in the back alley on my building, actually.
Everybody in the building got conscripted into the gang with that graffiti.
Yeah, and I'm
or
trying
graffito,
to find... But
they know that you're with them. They sense it.
Yeah.
Un graffito.
Apparently they are... they're not with MS-13, so they are... yeah, there's some issues going on with that. And I fear that there's going to be a turf war.
What's the problem with MS-13?
Oh, they're just kind of
They're-
assholes.
They're
Are they
vicious.
Christian?
They cut off the head of a guy in the center of well, they cut off a number of heads of people. They did it in Alexandria, Virginia, when I was living there.
Yeah, they actually leave bodies in the desert and so on. Like they operate with de facto impunity.
I mean, the policy for the Salvadorian government, if these guys get deported out of the U.S. after serving prison sentence, is that the military just takes them from the airport and shoots them. There's no trial,
Good.
no nothing. If they get sent back to El Salvador, the Salvadorian government just executes them.
They're that crazy, huh? Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Yes.
Are they all coked out and like?
Some of them, but I mean, basically, these are the criminal gangs that developed from orphans from the Salvadorian Civil War that just decided, well, the society is in such chaos, will just become like, criminal bandits, and then made their way up to El Norte, where being a criminal bandit was so much easier.
I see.
Yeah. So I just, for some reason, it occurred. I just remembered about the about all that, and apparently there's some kind of a tattoo exhibition going on with regards to it. Fuck, these people are.
Tattoos on the face.
Speaking of California and escaping California and not being able to escape in California, earlier today I was talking with Norvin, a guy named a new acquaintance named Goose, and Tom White and OV.
Yeah.
And this guy Goose, is living in Northern California, up near the Oregon border. And he says it's even bad up there.
Oh no! California's gone. California is a part of a part of Aslan, yeah. And
even up near the Oregon border.
Less, but only because they're small towns. But even then,
they're moving that direction.
Yeah,
they just
because
haven't
the thing
gotten
is, there's what's called the Reconquistador movement, and the Reconquistador movement is centered around Mexicans being butthurt because they were kicked out of Texas.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, they were also kicked out of California in 1848.
They have some legitimate angles from what I hear. I've heard that a side's sympathetic to them.
I'm gonna just come right out and say that they didn't cultivate the land, and in as much as they were not cultivating the land and they were demanding taxes off of the hard work of the white Texans, the Texans decided to say fuck it, we don't care anymore, and they kicked them out.
Yeah.
And then,
but their angle that was
and
good
then
was that
the
apparently from the Treaty of Hidalgo, they did say, whites can come here and settle provided they don't bring their blacks with them and black slaves. That was a condition,
right,
which was actually good.
Well, they didn't bring them.
But the whites did. Well, I heard.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
I heard that whites did. I heard that whites did.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that everything.
Well, blacks were bought, but not as slaves.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
What happened?
Okay, so but I'm.
They didn't want them at all.
I'm not saying that
that's
what
the, thing,
the Texans did was a good thing, categorically. I'm not saying that all of the white Texans were good. I'm not saying that. And some of them did some dickhole moves.
Well, Texas is different. Texas is 1836. The Treaty of Hidalgo, 1848, is California.
Yeah, but the thing, but they're associated because the reason that the California thing happened was because of the whole Texas deal that happened a decade previous, and they were the ones that forced that sale, and the Mexicans agreed to that sale. And as far as I'm concerned, fuck it. They weren't doing anything with the land anyway. The white population was doing more with it, so fuck it, whatever.
Okay, I'm down with you, but I'm just trying to look at some potential negotiative grounds, for better or worse. There's another aspect to La Raza that I heard of that much of it is based on it was modeled after National Socialism, and it has anti-Semitism built into its.
There was a movement in Mexico in the 30s that was a proto-fascist.
I mean,
No, but this
syndicalist.
I heard that this goes before that. It's not. Well, maybe no, it couldn't. Be
they
before that,
they
because
might, but
National Socialist,
it doesn't.
National Socialist was
But
in the 30s.
no, but they're
Right.
they're
Couldn't be before that.
the money changers have their business in their movement like you wouldn't believe anyway. Because at the end of the day, like, say what you will, but like most of them are on welfare, so they're just gonna go wherever the money is. So whoever's got the coffers, well, there you go.
That's always the case. But yeah, no. Jonathan, you said there was a movement in the 30s of
Yeah.
La Raza that
It was quite popular. Syndicalism, some sort of syndicalist movement, but it was basically a third positionist movement similar to integralism in Brazil or phalangism in Spain.
Yeah.
Well, let's imagine the best case scenario that they're able to stay
Anarchism.
in
It's called
Mexico.
Mexican anarchism.
We could maybe cooperate with them. You know, if they could
National
stay in-
Synarchist Union. Roman Catholic extreme right. In some ways akin to clerical fascism and phalangism.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we could potentially cooperate with a group like that if they were willing to stay out of our territories.
In the 30s, they were primarily organizing within Mexico against the Mexican government.
Right. That would be ideal.
So they were founded in 37, and let's see. Their first leader died in 1940. The second leader died in 1941, and then the movement kind of just disintegrated.
By the way, apparently this is a great headline. Mark Collette just posted this. Stormzy puts on a very powerful performance at Glastonbury as he headlines festival in a Union Jack stab-proof vest to make a bold statement on rising knife crime in London after 61 murders in the capital.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
You're not even allowed to carry scissors around in London right here.
Yeah, God, if only they knew who was
We
doing
can't
the
carry a
stabbing.
knife. It's illegal to carry like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, but the
That's
problem
a
here is
crime.
that they don't know who is doing the stabbing. They still have no idea, and that's a big problem. They're going to have to sort that
Yeah,
out.
really. I'm shocked.
Yeah. Well, if they knew.
They got CCTV cameras on every single
Yeah, if
corner.
only
in
we
London,
could
but they
identify
can't figure
them.
it out.
If we could identify them, we could deal with the situation. So it's really unfortunate that we just can't quite manage that.
I'm convinced that we have to begin. It's not the only way, but one thing we do have to do is begin to coordinate on the basis of DNA and try to germinate our governance from the inside out. We need a separate governance. We need to begin to look after ourselves.
One of the things that I was thinking about is physical safety. Because here in SoCal,
yeah, that's more important. That's more important to me than IQ and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I'm more like people say, oh well, you just like the Japanese because they're the model minority. No, because I know that if I go to Japan, I'm not going to be like attacked on the street.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to contemplate different ways of living and what I might want to do with my life tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in this harrowing circumstance.
Yeah.
Well, except if I might be stressed to the point of suicide if I tried to engage in the corporate culture.
Yeah.
But that aside. Okay,
so all right, I'm gonna have to wrap up the stream in the near future because I have like some things that I gotta take care of. This is the second to last day that I can purchase ammunition before having to go through a fucking background check because goddamn communists. But yeah, I'm gonna get some ammo. I'll sacrifice some.
Let's actually try to get a someone, maybe even a professional geneticist to talk to us eventually, and begin to
Yeah.
We'll try to push that along a little bit further. Everybody likes it. Everybody likes to get their genetics tested and wants to know where they come from. And I think that most people are interested in preserving their kinds, except for dumbass brainwashed women and the guys that pander to them. So
Yeah. That would actually make a funny video. I wish to save my people, change my mind.
yeah, exactly. My species,
Yeah.
my genus.
Well, I'm thinking about what it would look like to set up
my habitats.
a card table. Just imagine going outside and you see some retard with a card table that says, "Hi, I'm a Scot and I'm interested in meeting other Scots," or something like that. You know, here in LA that wouldn't fly at all because, you know, we don't exist anymore.
After you're suffering, you have to get out of there. Really, you need to move to Ruby Ridge as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna leave Los Angeles, but I gotta get the fuck out of here. This place is depressing to be in. But it would be funny though. Seriously, it would be funny to have just like a little card table and just be like, look, I'm into meeting Scots, you know, or whatever, you know, and we're gonna watch. Fuck, I don't know, whatever the hell Scottish people watch nowadays. The fuck do they watch?
Are you not eligible for disability insurance?
I don't think so. I might be. I don't know. I have no idea.
You might have a lawyer try to get you on that, and then you can go to anywhere in the United States. You know, you wouldn't have to have a little basic income.
Yeah, well, for as long as the country survives, anyway, right? Yeah. Well, at any rate, I'm gonna wrap up, you guys. I don't mean to cut it off abruptly or anything.
No, thanks
problem.
for talking. Thanks for talking, Tony.
Yeah, and I just actually
problem.
here, you guys stay on call because I want to chit chat for just a moment after I wrap up this stream. So don't go anywhere just yet. But anyway, so I'm gonna transition back over to the main to wrap up. I didn't do any K-streaming, but since we all know that today is the second to last day to purchase ammunition in Los Angeles, in California, without going through a background check because filthy fucking communists, I gotta get ready. I gotta get the hell out of there, or get the hell out of here, get myself a sleeve, and I'd like to go over the 4 rules of firearm safety if you are going to exercise your God-given right as enshrined in the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. It's important to understand the 4 rules of firearm safety. Rule number 1, always treat every firearm like it is loaded. Rule number 2, never cover or sweep anything that you are not willing to destroy. Rule number 3, your finger stays off of the trigger until your sights are on target. And the 4th and final rule is be aware of your target and what's beyond it. Safety first, very important. Sorry to get going so quickly. My apologies on that, but things are happening. So I'm going to play the outro, and that's it, guys. Thank you, everyone, for popping by, and I'll see everyone in the chats. And remember to floss. Very important. Remember to floss. All right, guys. Cheers.